Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your very own Ninajirachi type beat on Ableton Live. So I'm going to go through every single step of the process just to make a short type of song, EDM style, dubstep style, and yeah, so let's just get started. So first I'm going to start with the drums, which are set in this drum file and split into 3 parts: kick, snare, and hats. So starting with the kick, what we can do is just solo this track and listen to it now. So you can hear that's kind of just a gritty kick noise. What I've done is take a sample, distorted it a bit, EQ'd it, and then after that initial EQ, use a saturator and taken off the very, very, very low end. Then I've just taken that all, and that's about it for the kick. Now with the snare is 3 pieces. If you can see, there's actually a clap that's slightly coming a little early, almost like a whooshing sound. And then connected to that will be this right here. Kind of nice, similar whooshing kind of sound. And then with this snare right here, if we listen, and then lastly, that like really intense sound. And all together, these come and make this. Now each of these has been processed a bit, similar EQ just to take off the real low end and maybe a tiny bit of high end in some of them. Some don't need it. And lastly, distortion, a little bit of OTT on 24%, which is just an Ableton preset, and soft shaper. I've taken it and raised the high end of OTT a little bit. And that's those two, the kick and the snare. Lastly, the hats, very simple stuff. Just 2 tracks together, which I've just EQ'd. And then with all that together, we can play the drums, which sound like this. Now, let's talk about the synths. So it starts with this distorto thing, and what this actually is splice instrument. I found most of them are just strings, but I did find this a really nice touch broadcast sound. So that was where I started from. I added a little OTT and I sidechained it to the kick. Next we have this sound, which for the sake of this tutorial is going to be made in Vital because it's free and anyone can use it. So what this sound is pretty simple actually. It's just a wave right here, and then this is kind of a very messy, dirty sine wave. I've just added a little bit of attack, shortened the delay a bit, and then just taken the decay and kind of put it on this downward pattern. And that's basically it. I will go a little more in depth with this riser though. So what I've essentially done here is if you hear it rising up, if we go onto this LFO, you can see how the pitch is mapped directly to this LFO, which I've just put on top of this shepherd tone knob. But that creates that sound. And then lastly, we have this sub, which is pretty simple. All of these I've taken off the very low end to give some room for the sub. Again, pretty simple. This is just an Ableton sub that I've messed with a little bit, a little OTT. That's kind of a trend you'll see on a lot of these. A little compression again, and then the EQ. So with all that together, if I play that and the drums, you get this. Now, next let's talk about these stabs and fills. Each one's different, made in Vital. That's kind of like a square wave sound. Here we've got a distorted sound that's made of this FM with a vocoder. Again, just distorted stuff right here. This is brown noise. Basically, that's the gist of it. And this has a little reverb on it, which reminds me I'll talk about some automation a little bit. You can see I have automated sends kind of on the reverb right there. Something else that's really important actually is automation on speaker on, because in this type of style, there's a lot of really quick cuts from a lot of volume to no volume. So using that automation from on to off quickly will be really nice. And last but not least, we have this guy right here. Pretty basic. And that gives another pretty interesting, unique sound. That about sums everything up, the stabs and fills with the synths. So let's play all of those parts together. So that's basically all. Now, last but not least, we have the vocal, which is really simple. I just took a vocal.
No talk when I step through bold. Crep game clean like I'm dodging mode.
And all I've done is brighten it up a little bit.
No talk when I step through bold. Crep game clean like I'm dodging.
And then I've used auto pitch to actually do a format shift. You could also use Ableton's built-in tune Now, one final thing I'm going to go over before we play the song is just a little bit of work I've done on the main. What I've done is I've just used this free plugin, Air Windows Consolidated, just a really powerful tool that I've just used again to brighten and tighten up the audio a little bit. And then lastly, I've just used the true peak limiter, set it to -2 decibels. So that's something really important to consider. And keep in mind, if you really like anything you've heard, the SoundCloud link for this song is in the description. And most of my stuff, not this song, but it will be soon, is out basically everywhere on all streaming services. So it would mean the world if you could support me. But without further ado, I present to you 303.
No talk when I step through bold. Crep game clean like I'm dodging mode. Man one beef but they way too old. Too many man them are acting gold. Face on fees, no smile, no pose. Man get dashed for the price of the pros. They chat bees, they chat loads. Silence loud when the bass explode.